We are in northern Slovakia in a place called Spišská Stará Ves. Slovakia, just before the war, had a Jewish community of over 60,000 of people. Something about 64,000 of Jews lived in the entire Slovakia. Many of those, particularly Orthodox Jewish communities, lived in this very Subcarpathian territory on the southern sides of the Carpathian Mountains, just along the border with Poland. The Jewish community in this Subcarpathian little village of Spišská Ves dates back to 1700s. It never reached more than a couple of hundreds of people. After World War I in the 20s and 30s of the 20th century, it was already pretty economically depressed, but still, it had a Jewish community of over 200 people living here. A kehillah was organized, led by the rabbi, and all kinds of factions and fractions of Jewish life existed, including the Zionist Mizrahi movement, including the village sending members into the Zionist Congress in the late 1930s, collecting 50 shekels from all the Jews in the village. Also, quite many of the youngsters from Spisska Ves participated in the Hachalut movement and managed to emigrate in the later 30s into Palestine. Well, everything changed with the German Nazis starting their policies in Central Europe. In 1939, obviously, Czechoslovakia is dismantled and a Nazi puppet state of Slovakia is created under the leadership of Josef Tiso, a fully ordained Catholic priest. A very unique country created by the Nazis, probably the one and only in European history, which was entirely run by the fully ordained Roman Catholic priest. The local Catholic priest in Spišská Ves was also a member of this Slovak Nazi party. His name was Podolski, and he immediately started anti-Semitic demonstrations and regulations enacted in the city. Gradually, language changed. Gradually, Jewish businesses started to be closed. And ultimately, this was driving it slowly into the Slovak Nazis wanted to be the first to find a solution to the Jewish question. Of course, they were petitioning the Germans. The German Nazis informed their Slovak Nazi brethren that somewhere in late of 1941-42 they might be ready with something. And this takes us into March of 1942, when the Nazi militia, Slovak Nazi militia, the Hlinka Guard, started to arrest very young Jewish girls in all of those little villages of Subcarpathian territory. They've arrested over 900 girls, took them into a deportation camp, transitory camp in Poprad, and from Poprad there was a train organized taking all of those 999 girls straight into the concentration camp Auschwitz-Birkenau at that time already. This was actually the first massive transport of Jews ever arriving to Auschwitz, and also the first transport of women ever arriving to Auschwitz. What is left in Spišská Ves? Not much, but there is a Jewish cemetery, which is pretty well preserved, with a couple of dozens of stones still standing, becoming a tribute to the centuries of Jewish community life.